Hey everyone, welcome back to Metanoia. My name is Carrie Jane. A few days ago we talked about the 6th life path child. Today we will be doing the 7. And we're getting close to the end here because soon we'll be doing the 8 and then the 9 and then potentially a conclusion video to the series. And so I'm looking forward to wrapping this up and having this established on my channel and then moving on to other things. So, as always, before you continue watching this video, if you haven't done so already, please stop what you're doing. Watch my video on the Children of Gaia, because that is the video that is the introduction to this whole series, and that will provide some context to what we're about to talk about. So the 7 life path child. If you've watched my life path number playlist already, you know that the 7 life path number needs to have a solid belief system in order to develop normally, in order to become balanced in who they are, and, be true to themselves in their life. So, in this video, we're going to be talking about how you can create an environment for your child to foster that, and what you shouldn't do, as always, in all these videos. The first thing that I'm going to start out with is, because the 7 is the faith seeker, and because they are in this position where they're going to probably go through some sort of level of exploration in their life, we need to be very careful with making sure we keep all the doors open for them. And it was a similar explanation, I think, in the 1. And you're going to find a lot of similarities between these familial like number groups that I often talk about, the 1 and the 5 and the 7 being grouped together as part of the mind or intellect, whereas the 3, 6, and 9 were like creative numbers and so on. But it's different for the 7, because where the 1 needed many different outlets and many different things to explore to figure out what they're good at, the 7 needs all these doors open just for exposure, because they're going to be going on a journey of exploration. They need to know their options. And so, sorry, I've got like something stuck in my throat. Because of this, it would be really bad for a 7 life path child to be indoctrinated on anything from day 1. And the most common example I think we all know about is fundamentalists, fundamentalist Christians, who are just by the Bible and like, that's it. But there are ways you can do this to your kid in things that you might not have considered, you know? You might try to push them down an avenue a little bit too much because it's something that you're extremely passionate about. You know, you might be an atheist family and you want your kid to be like that as well. You may be just, I hear this a lot, people who believe in science, which I don't know why science replaces something. And you just want your kid to be involved in the sciences and think everything else is not worth examining or not worth looking into. Whatever the case, this is not good. This is not good for anyone, but this is especially not good for the 7 life path child who needs exposure to many different things to become the faith seeker, to understand their placement here in this complex world, to study subjects that are beyond them, and so on and so forth. The best thing that you can do for your kid is expose them to the beauty of nature. Anything in the natural world, which is really just the real world, will help them get in touch with themselves. It will help them become centered. And we're all human beings, and that's how we do that for ourselves. But for a person who has incarnated on Earth and have decided to basically just choose a track where their main focal point is trying to figure stuff out, you definitely need that cord, that connection. And the most solid connection that you could establish for your kid is exposing them to the natural world, to the real world. So you need to take them to the mountains, you need to take them to the lakes, to the ocean, to the rivers. They will benefit from it in a way that may not be obvious to them until later in life. Not only should you expose your 7 life path child to different landscapes, you should expose them to different cultures. Now, everything that I've said so far, unfortunately, can be very hard to do, okay? Because a lot of us, especially those of us who are like single parents with kids, or, you know, we're all kind of just struggling as parents right now to afford the cost of living. You know, we don't really have options right now. We struggle to probably do this because we can't take our kid to another country, you know, we can't afford it. Or, you know, just having exposure to different scenarios is difficult when you're kind of stuck in a suburban wasteland like a lot of us, because that's where our jobs are and that's where we need to be. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that for sure. But at the same time, I know a lot of people who do have some wiggle room. You know, they do have some money to do something, and they waste it. They just go to Disneyland every year, or they just do the same thing in general every year. And it's like, first of all, you're hurting yourself because you also need exposure to things. You know, it's good to expand your horizons, to learn a different culture, to take a knack at a different language, to just see something else, like to have variety in your life, because that's how we learn. But then you're also doing that to your child, who might already have a natural sense of curiosity and want to study things, but they can't because you only take them to Disney World every year and they're only exposed to like crowds and commercial things, you know? So if you're lucky enough to have the ability to go somewhere every year, don't go to the same place every year. Do something different. It doesn't really matter what it is. You know, it's just do something that's within your means, that will be new for you and your whole family. And that will help all of you, especially the 7 life path child. The 7 life path just needs to know that we live in a dynamic world with many different backgrounds, okay? And I've known many 7 life path numbers to get stuck in life because they didn't have this exposure, and the ones that were just for whatever reason didn't have the natural curiosity to go looking elsewhere, they got stuck in those mental boxes. And the 7 life path is the most intellectually oriented of the 1, 5, and 7 family. So it's just because of this, if they don't have that natural curiosity to like leave their family and do something else or figure out something else, and you're the only one providing that for them, they get stuck in these frames where it's like they just have these I don't know how to explain it. It's like their head is a box, and it's like you try to introduce something new to them and they have no fucking idea what you just said, and they can't accept anything else or can't learn anything else because of this very rigid upbringing that they had. And you know, it's hard. It's really hard on them, and they don't develop a belief system after that. Sometimes they'll even develop like a sense of hopelessness or whatever instead of having faith in life. And they're capable of so much. It's just like the worst thing that could happen for them. Another thing you could do is encourage them to write. 7 life paths are very often in the field of writing. They're brilliant philosophers, great poets. Just see if that's something they're interested in and buy them lots of reading material, whatever they're interested in. I think nonfiction is the way to go for your kid. Of course, when they're very young, they're not going to be into that. Or maybe you could get like a Ranger Rick magazine. You could like get magazine subscriptions for them or something like that. There's a lot of like fun kid magazines that are kind of, I guess, nonfiction for kids. You know, something like that when they're very young. And then when they're older, don't be surprised if they're walking around the philosophy section of Barnes and Nobles. I hang out there a lot, so hit me up. But like, yeah, it's just, that's another way you can expose them, especially if you don't have the money to travel. Just be like, here's this book on India. And then just see what happens, you know. You never know. They will do what they're going to do with that, but it's good to have the exposure. And, you know, you could suggest them having a journal. You could buy them journals. You could suggest writing clubs. Yeah, that's what I have to say about that. And then just to like wrap this up, I kind of always so far in these videos give like a takeaway message. And for this, I would say just don't stifle their spirit. I wrote here, don't force them to be what you want them to be. We kind of already said that. They need to move freely in their mental spaces, so give them privacy. 7 life paths tend to be very private people because they kind of are, you know, looking at things, and then they take those observations and then they go into their den and they unfold that, they unpack that. You got to give them their space to do that. They need time alone, I wrote here. Maybe try to make it so that they have their own bedroom so they feel safer. Of course, you might not have the ability to give them that, but if there is, you know, if you do have multiple children, maybe give them the bedroom that's like on the other side of the house, or, you know, try to make it so that maybe like renovate your house so that you have a second bedroom so that your kid can like have their own privacy. And of course, sometimes you just don't have the money or the resources to do that, but at least having this in mind, perhaps you could help, just knowing this stuff makes it so that like when your kid's acting out, or you see something trying to grow in your child or what have you having that knowledge in the moment, you'll be able to discern, okay, this is something that I could say right now that would be helpful, for example. So yeah, just don't stifle their spirit, and know that your child has a very, very deep capacity for understanding, and they need to explore that side of themselves. That's, I think, the best thing I could say right now about the 7 life path child. So, thank you all so much for watching. If you would like a reading with me, or if you'd like to follow any of my other social media accounts, or if you want to support this channel in any way, please go to the links in the description. All that information is there. And as always, please let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if there's a video that I haven't made yet on this channel that you would like to see, so on and so forth. I'll see you all soon with the 8 life path child. Hope you guys are doing okay out there. And yeah, see you all soon. Take care.